Today we're comparing the salaries of a doctor and an investment banker. Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Mohammad. I'm a core surgical trainee in London, but currently I'm in Dubai and I'm here with my good friend KD.
I got day ones and I got new ones.
What are you saying?
Not much, man.
Are you nervous for this video?
A little bit.
Don't worry, you guys are non-judgmental. You know how much work goes into this sort of stuff. It's a different type of work, but it's hard work nonetheless. But anyways, we're going to reveal all. We're going to be as transparent as possible for you guys to make an informed decision about the two career options that many kids have faced. Whether it's investment banking or medicine, which was quite a common decision for a lot of kids in our secondary school anyway. But I thought it would also be quite interesting because I don't really know any of these figures that you mentioned or will mention. So we'll see if I decide to become an investment banker by the end of this video. To be a doctor in this country, you need to graduate medical school. You need to spend around 5 to 6 years at medical school. You'll graduate around 23 to 24. And everyone is guaranteed a job in the National Health Service. Most people will be ranked in their year, and depending on their rank, they'll get a job wherever it is in their year. If you're very highly ranked, i.e. in the top 10 to 20% of your year, you tend to get the London jobs, the competitive London jobs. And if you get ranked a little bit higher...
And this is ranking just at uni?
Just university. And then it's a national scoring system as well. It's a bit more complicated than that, but I've just simplified it. But you're guaranteed a job. How does it work for banking?
I would say keep at a high level, and it's very competitive, and there are a number of unis which they will specifically target. London-based unis: UCL, King's, LSE, Imperial, Oxford, Cambridge, and then some ones up north.
The peripheral universities.
Yeah, exactly.
Outside the M25.
Exactly. And there's lots of internships from 17, 18, a couple of days a week. And then first year of uni where it's a week, and then you've got the summer internship, which is the real test in the second year, 10 weeks long. That's paid, roughly speaking, £1,000 a week, £1,000 a week, roughly speaking. And that's the real test. That it's really tough.
This is when you're working 20 hours a day in the office, putting in the work.
You're working long hours past midnight a lot. It's a tough job. It's stressful, and it is one of the hardest things you will do in your career.
And that's your gateway to a job.
That it's your gateway to it's the gateway to the city. And that's what makes it so stressful.
And how common is it for people to get these internships? Is it competitive to get an internship?
Roughly speaking, 1 in 100.
1 in 100 people that apply actually get offered that internship.
Yeah, for the most competitive of banks. Others maybe 3 to 5 in 100.
3 to 5, right? And then of those, how many convert to real jobs?
Around 50 to 80%.
Pretty damn competitive.
Yeah, and it's a stressful experience, right?
Right, so now that you've graduated university, what age do most people graduate at?
So if you do a 3-year undergrad,
21
without a gap year. If you've done a master's, then obviously 4 years.
Fab. So 21, 22 you're graduating, whereas in medical school most people graduate 23, 24. It's a 5-year degree. Most people do an integrated BSc. They graduate at 23, 24. And so for the first year as a junior doctor, you're set to make around 24 at the lowest to around 32 at the highest. How does that compare to a first year analyst at a bank?
How does that compare? It's better first to talk about the ranking system. So roughly speaking, there's about 50 people in your cohort, and you are ranked literally 1 to 50 in a 2 to 3 month process.
You can't choose your number. Like my favourite number is 7.
My favourite number 7, please. I'm happy with that one.
It's not too high, it's somewhere in the middle.
Exactly. Unfortunately not. But it's a very thorough process, right? And then if you're very well ranked, top 5 to 10%, so that's what 2 to 5 people, you can be looking at making around 6 figures in your first year out.
So according to my calculations, of that 0.2 to 0.5%.
Yeah.
It's now 0.02
Yeah.
to 0.05%
Yeah.
that will be earning this figure.
It is not all as glamorous as it seems, right? There are people who are working extremely hard, but for whatever reason, the ranking system doesn't work out, and they feel they may not get as much as they deserve.
Okay, so let's go back to our salaries. So the second year of after graduation, your salary increases by a little bit, so you go up to around 32 to 38,000 pounds, depending on your on calls.
Yeah.
How does that compare to a second year analyst?
So second year analyst, it kind of goes up a little bit more, maybe 10-20%. So
10-20%.
above the six figures, yeah.
Fine. Now you move in from foundation training into core training.
Yeah.
You're now 3 years post graduation. Core training is broadly 2 to 3 years, and your salary tends to be between 45 and 50,000 pounds for that time period.
Okay.
How does that compare to? Is it an associate now?
An associate now,
Okay.
yeah. You can kind of increase your salary by 80 to 100%.
So that's where the real jump is, where you get that promotion, where you get a new title.
Yes.
And with that, you have a new team. Are you a team
No,
leader?
you
Still...
stay in that team, but your role changes.
Okay.
You are starting to become, or trained to become, a project manager of the project you're working on, rather than the doer.
Okay.
So the idea is you've been trained in the doing, now you're trying to transition into being a project manager.
That's crazy. That's almost identical to your route in medicine.
Okay.
As a core trainee, you've now got a lot more experience. You take far more responsibility. As a registrar, you are pretty much the team leader.
Yeah.
The consultant is only here for a few hours in the day, and for the rest of the time, it's the registrar that takes the lead.
Okay.
And as a core trainee, you're transitioning from being led to being the leader.
Yeah.
So that's the real jump. All right. I think we're going to get juicier as we go up this ladder. All right, let's keep climbing. So once you've transitioned from core training into registrar training, your time is split into, the first half of ST or specialty training, and then the second half of ST or specialty training, which mirrors exactly what these bankers get up to. So in the first half of your ST training, you're set to earn between 50 and around 60,000 pounds. How does that compare to you guys?
So that's kind of ST3 to ST6.
Yeah. So that's the equivalent
of a vice president, VP role,
yeah.
and that is, you are the project manager now, right?
So similar as the registrar, you are the team leader.
Exactly. So you've got a team of 2-3 people underneath you now, and your pay can, again, if you're well ranked, your pay can double again.
Okay. So now I've lost track of all the doubling. So give me a figure. Give me a round figure.
So there is a lot more pay here in the bigger banks that is in shares, right, versus just cash component.
Okay, so what does that mean?
So the shares means that after a certain period of time, you get to own a portion of a very small portion, but a portion in the company you work for. And you can either hold that for a time or sell it to have the money.
And then the second half of your ST years, you're expected to make a little bit more money, so between 60 and 75 or so thousand pounds, as you take far more responsibility, and then now you're training to become an independent practitioner, an independent doctor, or a consultant. Okay. So how does that compare to being, what's that?
So this is now a director level, and you're now really starting to own the relationships with the client. The next step is managing director. You own the client relationship fully. So here you're stepping away from the project management role, and you're now owning that client relationship, and that means that you're, again, more or less doubling your salary. If you are top end, and that doubling comes through the share component mostly.
So the second thing I want to ask now is that we're almost getting to the final tier. Most junior doctors that start off will end up as a consultant somewhere in the country. They might take a little tour and go on an F3 and a gap year here and there, but most people will funnel up and get to the consultant. Of those people that started off as an analyst at that bank, what proportion get to MD, managing director?
Very, very few.
So of that 0.02% that we talked about, even less get to that portion.
So, I mean, to give you an idea, if you're talking about one specific team, let's say within investment banking, say it's got 5 people that come in that year, maybe one person will make it to director.
Wow, damn.
And look, it's really competitive. It is really competitive, but it is constantly interesting.
if you enjoy this piece of work.
If you enjoy it.
It's the same with medicine. The amount of stuff that you put in.
You have to really be engaged as you guys do, right?
Alright, let's get to the crux of the matter, bro. Managing director versus consultant. As a consultant, you will get a salary of around £77,000, and that increases in increments throughout your career. Most people earn around 100. I think 100 is a fair average to get from the NHS, but obviously you have the scope to work privately and you can boost your income significantly.
Which many do.
What's the
percentage there?
Depending on the specialty. Certain specialties have huge private practice potential: gastroenterology, cardiology, plastic surgery, trauma orthopedics, ears and throat surgery. These guys all do private practice, and it's very open to, because everyone wants a private elbow operation so they can play tennis again, or they don't want to wait 8 months on the waiting list for a new shoulder. They can do that privately. So an established surgeon can be set to earn over 2/3 of their income privately in a very small duration.
Wow.
So if you do an extra clinic every single week, you can earn up to 2/3 of your income privately.
So just on the quick maths, if you said 100,000, then that's 60, 70,000.
Additionally, yeah.
Wow.
And obviously, certain people work even harder, so then they'll work 7 days a week, especially if they're sort of young, single, whatever, and they can really boost their earning potential. And as you get more reputable, you have the likes of Professor Kumar Clark, and these other notable figures, international figures.
And I presume you can also get fees for talking
for talks, for books, publications.
Exactly. So it doesn't stop at that.
It doesn't stop. So being a consultant really opens the doors to whatever you would like in terms of.
But equally, that doesn't stop mode is also reflective of the work doesn't stop as a consultant. It's not the pinnacle.
You're still you're still the leader of all of that team that we mentioned.
The research
before.
has to continue.
You have to do the research, you have to do the teaching, the audits, the departmental stuff, as well as all this other stuff. This is stuff that's additional to a full-time job. So a lot of people don't actually do that much private practice, but you have some very, very high-ranking, notable international figures that will be earning millions.
Wow.
And then you have most people that will probably just boost their income by 2/3 to 50% or so.
But living more than comfortably.
Anything above 75,000 is comfortable.
Yeah. Okay.
Especially if you have a partner or someone that earns a little similar.
Yeah. Okay.
How does that compare to you or managing directors?
Yeah. So these guys are the client relationship managers.
Yeah.
It gets as big as if these guys move banks, the bank could lose a material source of revenue. You're talking multi-millions a year in revenue. So to put that in context, these guys are worth a significant amount, and so yes,
they're compensated for it.
Yes, so they're earning millions.
Millions. Okay, and that's from the off.
So the most junior of managing director will maybe just get close to $1 million, and then as you become more and more consistent, millions.
I guess there you have it. We've talked about all of the different stages of your progression from a medical student through being a junior doctor to a senior registrar to being a consultant, and then from, I'm going to try to remember this, from an intern to an analyst to an associate vice president, director, managing director, and then retiring.
Exactly. And just to sum it all up, on the banking side, that's 11, 12 years.
Total.
Yeah, to get to that pinnacle.
Similar for medicine.
Similar
to become
for medicine.
a consultant.
Okay.
There are other routes which are a lot quicker to get into becoming an independent consultant, depending on the specialty. But I'm talking about surgery and most general medicine. This is the vast majority of the specialties follow this.
Okay.
Thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please drop them below. And if you have any questions for myself or KD, we'd love to help. We essentially just want to guide your decisions and make sure that you choose appropriately, because when we were sort of growing up, no one really told us any of this stuff. People weren't really open about money, which is, I think, something that people should be open about. And
but equally, I feel really strongly that everything should be pursued because there's a fundamental interest in that.
Oh, 100%. That's the most important thing. But I do recognise that limitations are put on you by finances and money.
Yeah.
Especially a lack of.
Exactly. The reward helps, for sure, but the primary thing has to be interest and the love of it.
Fantastic. Alright, it's 4:30, guys. I'm gonna head to sleep.
Yeah.
I've been averaging like 2 hours sleep a day. I'm
Night
supposed to be on
shifts.
holiday.
Night shifts.
Night shifts, but also Dubai shifts.
Yeah, Dubai shifts.
Alright, see you later.
Running out of patience, baby, these days start to drive me crazy, alright. Feel pain, but I pray it's fading. One day, hoping that I make it alright. New day, but the same on me. Wishing I could move past these days sometimes. Been down like a million times. Pray God help me till I see the light, you know. Cause I can't believe what I seen these 25 years, all pain, all stress. Need a crib, hillside, 10 mil in the bank, no more, none less, oh yeah. No more, none less. Stack my hands, praying it don't fall down. Been a long time coming, baby. Been a long damn time, hope I never come down. Hope I never come down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Say, what would you do if you was like me?